So if you've been hearing a lot about Rust lately, why a lot of developers, companies, and teams are trying to adopt Rust into their ecosystem and move away from JavaScript, C, and C++, or even Node.js. So in this video, I'm going to take a look on Rust, why it's super cool. Also, I'm going to see why a lot of people are preferring Rust versus something like Node.js. Also, I'm going to take a quick look on two projects and compare them side by side from Rust and Node.js. So you're probably wondering why a lot of developers are interested in Rust, as well as why so many teams, developers, and companies particularly are moving from old code bases from JavaScript, Java, C, C++ into Rust itself. So there's actually a couple of different reasons for me I would choose Rust compared to other ones, because I've been trying Rust for the past couple of weeks. And it's more like 2 weeks when I started learning and using Rust and actually trying to build a project using Rust. So the first most important one, it's new, which means it provides and it brings all the new design patterns, all the awesome features and syntax of all the languages we love and developers like. It brings them to the table. It's also very, very safe. It doesn't have memory leaks. It doesn't have CPU bottlenecks. It controls everything and it controls it super well. As well as, when I talk about safety in here, it has no garbage collector. But because most of the times for languages like JavaScript or maybe Python, those high-end languages that, it gives you a really decent performance, they all use a garbage collector. So it has a good side and a downside. And for Rust, it literally ignores that garbage collector and it doesn't use the borrow checker. And as well as because Rust is a compiled language, it's not an interpreted like JavaScript or Python, and that code gets compiled down to binaries and native binaries that can run literally anywhere. And there are actually many companies that have moved from older languages, like they were using, for example, C and C++ for native code. And some of these companies are like Dropbox, Cloudflare, Figma, the beloved Figma we all love and we all use, Shopify in here, Linux kernel. Yes, you're hearing it right. So if you take, for instance, for example, Figma and how they were being able to migrate from the old JavaScript implementation, later on, they moved from Typescript into using Rust for their multiplayer kind of system. They've seen a huge difference when it comes to memory bandwidth or memory usage, and as well as CPU bottlenecks and how CPU was eaten up before and after. It's actually incredible how it took the memory usage from 4.2 gigabytes on the TypeScript implementation, and when moved to Rust, it became something like 1 gigs. It's crazy, and that's what Rust is actually capable of doing. So because how crazy Rust is and what I've heard from the community, either on Twitter, YouTube, or just literally everyone is talking about Rust and how cool it is, well, I actually decided to, take Rust and give it a try. So the interest actually was pretty straightforward as any other language and how to run, compile, and work with, different packages and install them and everything. Later on, when it got into the real world stuff and actually trying to build a web server using Rust, it actually got way much more complicated and I started scratching my head. But don't take this in the wrong sense. No, I was scratching my head in the good sense. So for me, to compare Rust with Node, what I tried to do is actually try to build two projects, one in Node.js and the second one in Rust. So basically what the project consists of, for example, there's actually the Node project in here. So as you can see in here, it listens on port 9000, and what it does actually allows you to register, to log in, view a guarded payment route that you can access this payment route to get how much money you got in your account, and this is only for authenticated users. So they are connected to your database. They use Sequelize to initiate the database connection and allow you to save the logged in information in the database and register in the database and stuff like that, and working with a database like MySQL, which is running on Docker. So just to take a quick example, this is actually what it would look like. If you go to Postman on port 9000, this is where the Node.js server is running. So if I do register in here, I can easily do thanks for registering. If I go to login in here and do login, I get the GWT token in here back, I can log in. And last but not least, using the payment in here, if I pass in the token using authorization bearer token, I can easily view my guarded stuff in here as well. If I completely remove this one, as you see, it says not authorized anymore. So for me, in order to build the same Node.js application, which I built in around an hour or even less than an hour, into building the same application using Rust. Before that, I only just had the opportunity just to bootstrap a simple Rust application that says hello world, and I read some Rust book to learn Rust and literally didn't understand so much. So the first thing I thought about, oh, I need a web server and I need to run a Rust web server. Obviously, I don't want to do that from scratch because usually on Node.js, we don't do web servers from scratch, so we use something like Express.js. So when I was looking at Rust, I found a really interesting one which called Rocket. So Rocket is a web framework, more of like that, and it allows you to actually make and write fast, secure web applications using Rust, and it gives you actually a sort of like boilerplate code so you can easily go through without writing so much code, even though in Rust you're still gonna write a lot of code, but you got the point. And the second one I needed is like an ORM that allows you to manage a database like MySQL or something, which I'm going to use right now. So Sequelize for Node.js. What I was able to find in here is called Diesel, which is a pretty awesome ORM as well. But the only downside for this ORM is I didn't find a lot of documentation about it, and the documentation wasn't really well written. So as any other programming language, more particularly, Rust in here as well needs a main interest file. So this is the file. For right now, it's super messy. I didn't want to delete the comments. So for you, you can see, or you can exactly see the cumbersome I went through when I was learning this and trying to build this whole web server and web application, the same one as the Node.js. So you can easily see how hard it is to just actually, so you can easily see the good sides and the downsides about writing code in Rust. What I particularly like about Rust in here, it actually has the same ecosystem as NPM with like a cargo to toml. So cargo, by the way, is the package manager. So it's something like NPM or yarn or PNPM. So this one allows you to actually have dependencies and install specific version of dependencies, and it's gonna handle everything or all the like behind the scenes by itself. Also, I was able to have like a .env file here with a really awesome library from Rust to read these env files for the database connection and everything. It was super nice. So if you look at the main.js in here, you have some register handler in here that allows you to register, and using the Rocket web server framework in here, I allows you to use something like attributes. So in Rust, they are called attributes in here. So allow you to like, tell, oh, this function is going to be the handler for this / register. It's going to take a data of JSON, it accepts JSON, it returns. This is actually how you return in here, like a response and everything. And this is actually what we're doing behind the scenes. Like we're inserting in the user, we're creating a connection. That's a downside about it, which I didn't like. So you need to do some connection pooling, which most of the times isn't that great and easy, and you call the database in here to create the new user and insert it into the users table. And last but not least, you can just simply respond. As clear as in here, that's it. I went through with different stuff and I tried many things in here, but I landed with this pretty simple, easy to follow implementation. Now, the hardest part in here, what I found, is actually the database connection. As you can see here, I have an old folder. I kept these versions, DB2, DB3, and DB4, because I went through 4 types of versions of the DB module in here in order to land with like a workable or a working kind of prototype of the DB and able to connect and give me a connection and actually work with it. So it was a crazy experience, but I absolutely loved it. I actually created this users module in here that allows me to have the structs of the actual user for like having an ID, full name, email, password, and I'm using every single time I'm using the derive in here attribute. They are all called attribute in Rust. They allow you to share kind of like existing functionalities with different structs. So just doing this one is going to give it a really good functionality and allow it to work with different stuff and allow it to work with something like the database or the JSON for the serialize and deserialize in here. Now for the login, I found it as well easy enough because I already knew how to do stuff. So I knew that I can accept a JSON in here and return a JSON, establishing a connection. This is the downside I was talking about. So every single time and every single handler, you have to establish and connect to the database. You can't like have a shared global variable, but you need something like a pool to pull off of these connections in Rust. So yeah, so I was able to log in here using the connection, user, email, password, and using this match keyword. I absolutely adore this one where it allows you to match. So it's like a switch in JavaScript, but this is more of like match, and you have to match like 2 or more. So you can match some here, which is a good request in here that I found the user and says, oh, you're logged in with this response, or the none in here, which is 403. And the last one in here for actually the payments, so I can have a guarded payments, and particularly I want this payment to only be accessible to authenticated users. So for this one, I had to implement this sort of token in here, which is a GW token, and it uses a user token in here and return a custom status in here. So with this one, I simply first check if the token is valid. So it's going to say, oh, if the token has an error, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw unauthorized just right away. And otherwise, if it works, I'm just gonna return a simple response with how much I got in the account, like $900, and that is it. And that's simply what the payment route, it's pretty much the same thing as you have like in Node.js. And this is where actually you initialize and tell your route to the actual Rocket web framework, as well as for the GWT in here that handles the GWT, like, signing the GWT and decoding the GWT and verifying it. You guessed it right. It's a lot of code, as you can see, a lot of cumbersome code in here. I had to go through back and forth because, I was super struggling about this one. But luckily, I got it sorted out. So this is actually what it looks like in here, and it works perfectly. But still, too much code. Now, the thing I absolutely love about Rust is actually its compiler. It has a pretty smart compiler that literally can know everything, like every single bit of detail. And more interestingly, it can actually guide you through how to fix the issue you're currently on and actually describe exactly what's going on. So for example, in here, got this one actually running on a watch, which means if I go ahead and Control S, it can just go ahead and reload and restart the server. I'm using a custom package or a custom library from Rust called watch, and it actually allows you to do that. So let's say, for example, I'm going to introduce an error to my code, so like a syntactical kind of error. I'm going to remove this lifetime in here, Rust in here. I'm going to Control S, so it's going to go back in here. And this is actually the generic argument, and it actually highlights exactly where the issue is, and it tells you before the runtime. It tells you exactly in compile time. So I need to add the lifetime apostrophe in here for this to work perfectly. And screws in here, if I just save that, there you go. The server now is running, and the errors went off, and the errors are gone. Okay, now the moment of truth, going back to Postman and actually trying our server. So screws in here, I can register using a row. I'm using a JSON, so I can send it as a post request. I do that. There you go. The server response, oh, thanks for registering. And this is actually where I'm going. If I go back to login now, and this is actually my credentials. So I go back to login, as you say, get the data, which is the GWT token. I can have, like, for example, 5 in here. It says, oh, wrong credentials, you can't do that. And if I go to the payment in here, which should be the guarded route, so this is actually my GWT authentication token as a bearer token in here. And actually I'm going to the payments. So if I go ahead and send, your recent payment is $900. So if I remove the authentication, click enter. Oh, unauthorized, you must log in first. So to give you a quick overview of my experience building a web server from scratch, using Rust and learning Rust. So here's actually the good part and the bad parts, in my opinion, that what I like about Rust and what I don't really like about Rust. So what I like about it is actually has a really package manager similar to NPM, so that's good. Rust compiler is just great and clever, and Rust is actually super safe and actually prevents you from shooting yourself on the foot. Also, after learning Rust and knowing all the concepts and the new features that it actually introduces, it allowed me to actually understand concepts way much better, like the programming concepts in general. Plus, it allowed me also to write cleaner code. What I don't really like most of the times, like 80% of the times, actually you have to write a lot of code to get small things done. Packages are not really well documented because I went through like the Diesel package or maybe other packages I found online or libraries. They were like having zero documentation, they're having super bad documentation, or the last one, which is, I'm not going to take it as a downside, but not everyone knowing Rust. So you're not going to find a lot of resources online in order to help you out. So anyway, guys, I really recommend you guys to go ahead and learn Rust. It's a really blazingly awesome language. Even though if you have like a spare time and you're not going to use Rust in a production or you're at work, it's an absolutely amazing language.